It was 6:45 a.m. on a hectic Monday morning at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, when Katt Williams rushed through Terminal B, running late for his 7:30 a.m. flight to Los Angeles. He had overslept after his weekend shows in Atlanta and was cutting it dangerously close to missing his connection. As he hurried toward Gate B12, he noticed a man in his 50s standing in the middle of the concourse, looking completely lost and panicked. The man was well dressed in a business suit, but was turning in circles, checking and rechecking a boarding pass, while staring at the departure monitors with obvious confusion. "Excuse me," the man called out to a passing airline employee. "I think there's been a mistake. My boarding pass says Gate C7, but the monitor shows my flight at Gate B12. The airline employee, clearly rushing to handle her own responsibilities, barely glanced at his ticket. "Sir, the monitors are correct. If there was a gate change, it would be updated. You need to go to Gate B12. Katt, overhearing this exchange, slowed his pace. Something about the man's distress caught his attention. As the airline employee walked away, the man stood there looking even more confused and frustrated. "Hey brother," Katt approached him. "Everything okay?" The man looked at Katt with relief at finding someone willing to help. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm completely lost. I've never flown before and nothing seems to match up." "Never flown before? What's the occasion?" "My daughter is getting married in San Francisco this weekend. She bought me the ticket and said it would be simple, but..." He held up his boarding pass with shaking hands. "I don't understand any of this." Katt looked at the boarding pass and immediately spotted the problem. "Sir, what's your name?" "Robert Chen. And I know I look like a mess, but I've been here since 5 a.m. trying to figure this out." "Robert, I hate to tell you this, but you're at the wrong terminal. This boarding pass is for a United flight, and we're in the Delta terminal." Robert's face went pale. "Wrong terminal. But the taxi driver brought me here and I asked 3 different people. It happens more than you think. What time is your flight?" Robert checked his watch and his boarding pass. 7:30. "Oh no, it's almost 7 now. Don't panic yet. United is in Terminal C, which is only about a 10-minute train ride from here. We might be able to get you there in time." I'm headed to LAX too, but on a different airline." "Come on, let's get you to your gate." As they hurried toward the train that connected the terminals, Robert explained his situation. He was a 54-year-old widower who had never flown because his late wife had been terrified of air travel. For 30 years, all their family trips had been by car. "Linda died 2 years ago," he said as they boarded the train. "Cancer. She made me promise that I wouldn't let her fear of flying stop me from seeing our daughter's wedding." "Where's your daughter?" "San Francisco. She moved there for work 5 years ago. I've been driving out to visit her, but it's a 20-hour drive from Atlanta. She finally convinced me to fly for the wedding." When they reached Terminal C, Katt looked at the departure monitors and his heart sank. Robert's flight was already boarding, and they were still a 5-minute walk from the gate. "We need to run," Katt said. "Can you run?" "I'll try." They took off through the terminal, Katt carrying Robert's heavy carry-on bag while Robert clutched his boarding pass, and other passengers moved aside as they rushed past, clearly recognizing the desperation in Robert's face. When they reached Gate C7, the gate agent was making the final boarding call. "Wait," Robert called out, breathless and sweating. "I'm here. I'm Robert Chen." The gate agent looked at him with the expression of someone who had seen this drama play out countless times. "Sir, we've been calling your name for 20 minutes. Do you have your boarding pass and ID?" Robert fumbled with his documents, his hands shaking from nerves and exertion. "I got lost. I was in the wrong terminal. Sir, I need to see your boarding pass." As Robert handed over his documents, Katt noticed something that made his stomach drop. The date on the boarding pass was wrong. "Robert," he said quietly, "what day did your daughter say the wedding was?" "Saturday. This Saturday." Katt pointed to the boarding pass. "This flight is for next Saturday. You're a week early." Robert stared at the boarding pass, then at Katt, then back at the boarding pass. The color drained from his face completely. "That's impossible," she said. "I wrote it down." He pulled out a small notebook from his jacket pocket and flipped through the pages frantically. She said the 20th, and today is the 20th. Robert, today is the 13th. The gate agent, who had been waiting impatiently, leaned forward to look at the boarding pass. Sir, this ticket is for next week. You can't board this flight. Robert sat down heavily in one of the gate area chairs, his head in his hands. I can't believe this. I took time off work. I got someone to watch my house. I psyched myself up for this for weeks. Katt sat down next to him. Hey, it's going to be okay. These things happen. No, you don't understand. I've been planning this trip for months. My daughter thinks I'm coming today. She's expecting me to help with wedding preparations this week. Have you called her? I don't have one of those cell phones. I was going to call her from the airport in San Francisco. Katt pulled out his phone. What's her number? Let's call her now. Robert recited the number, and Katt dialed. After a few rings, a young woman's voice answered. Hello? Hi. Is this Robert Chen's daughter? Yes. Who is this? This is Katt Williams. I'm here with your father at the Atlanta airport, and we have a situation. Katt handed the phone to Robert, who took it with trembling hands. Me, Lynn? Honey, it's Dad. I'm at the airport, but I made a mistake with the dates. Katt could hear the daughter's voice, though not the words. The conversation lasted about 5 minutes, with Robert becoming increasingly emotional. She says the wedding is definitely this Saturday, not next Saturday. Robert said after hanging up, she's been expecting me today. She has a whole week of activities planned. Did you book the ticket yourself? No, she booked it online and emailed me the confirmation. I printed it out at the library. Robert looked at the boarding pass again. I must have read the email wrong. Katt thought for a moment. Robert, what if we got you on the right flight? What do you mean? I mean, what if we go to the ticket counter and see if we can change your ticket to today's date? There might be availability, and there might be a change fee, but I can't afford a change fee. This ticket already cost me $400, which was more than I've ever spent on anything except my car. Katt stood up. Let me worry about that. Come on. At the United ticket counter, they explained the situation to a customer service representative named Janet, who looked at Robert's ticket and booking confirmation. I can see what happened, she said kindly. The original booking was for today, but there was a schedule change last month, and the system automatically moved passengers to the same day the following week. Your daughter should have received an email notification. Can we fix it? Katt asked. There is a flight to San Francisco leaving at 11:15 a.m. with available seats, but there would be a change fee of $200 plus the difference in fare, which would be another. Robert's shoulders slumped. I don't have I barely had enough for the original ticket. Katt pulled out his credit card. Put the charges on this. Mr. Williams, I can't let you. Robert, your daughter is getting married, and you promised your wife you'd be there. That's not a promise you break over. But I don't even know you. Why would you do this for a stranger? Katt thought about how to answer that. Because I know what it's like to miss important moments with family, and because I know your wife would want you to be there. As Janet processed the ticket changes, Robert tried repeatedly to convince Katt not to pay, but Katt remained firm. Think of it as a wedding gift, he said. I don't even know your daughter, but I'm already invested in this wedding happening with her father there. When the new boarding pass was printed, Robert stared at it like it was made of gold. I can't believe you did this, he said. How can I ever repay you? Send me a picture from the wedding. That's all the payment I need. Since Robert's new flight didn't leave for several hours, Katt suggested they get breakfast. Over coffee and bagels, Robert shared more about his life. He was a mechanic who had owned the same auto repair shop for 25 years. His wife Linda had been a teacher. Meilene was their only child, and she was marrying a software engineer she'd met in college. Linda would have loved him, Robert said, showing Katt a wallet photo of a young Asian woman with her arm around a tall, blonde man. She always said she wanted Meilene to find someone who made her laugh. What would Linda say about this whole adventure today? Robert smiled for the first time all morning. She'd say it was exactly the kind of thing that would happen to me, and that I was lucky to run into an angel in the airport. I'm no angel, Robert. Just someone who's learned that the best parts of life happen when we help each other out. When it was time for Robert to board his flight, he hugged Katt with tears in his eyes. "I'm going to tell this story at the wedding," he said, "about how Katt Williams saved my daughter's wedding." "Don't make me sound too good," Katt laughed. "I've got a reputation to maintain." 4 days later, Katt received a text message from Robert's number. Apparently, Meilene had helped him set up a phone. The message contained 3 photos. One of Robert walking Meilene down the aisle, one of the happy couple cutting their cake, and one of Robert giving a speech at the reception. The message read, "Thank you for making sure I didn't miss the most important day of my daughter's life. Linda was right. You are an angel. Robert and Meilene and David too." But the story didn't end there. 6 months later, Katt was performing in San Francisco when a young couple approached him after the show. "Mr. Williams, I'm Meilene Chen Johnson, and this is my husband David. You helped my father get to our wedding." "Meilene, how's Robert doing?" "He's great, but we wanted to thank you in person. What you did for him, for us. It meant everything. Where is he tonight?" "He's back in Atlanta, but he wanted us to give you this." She handed him a small package. Inside was a hand-carved wooden figurine of an airplane, along with a note. "Katt, I made this in my workshop. It's to remind you that sometimes the best flights are the ones where you help someone else reach their destination. You'll always be family to us, Robert." As Katt held the little wooden airplane, David spoke up. "Mr. Williams, Robert tells that airport story to everyone he meets. You've become a legend in our family." "How so?" "Well," Meilene laughed, "now whenever anyone in our family faces a problem that seems impossible, we ask ourselves, what would Katt Williams do? And the answer is always, help first. Worry about the details later." A year later, Robert flew to Los Angeles, confidently this time, to visit Katt on the set of one of his comedy specials. He brought photos of his first grandchild, a baby girl named Lynn. Meilene wanted to name her after her grandmother, Robert explained, but she also wanted to honor the person who made sure I was there for all the important moments that followed the wedding. "So what did you decide?" "Her full name is Linda Catherine Chen Johnson. The Catherine is for Katt." As they sat in Katt's dressing room looking at baby photos, Robert reflected on how much his life had changed since that chaotic morning in the airport. "You know, I've flown 6 times since the wedding. I'm not scared anymore. What changed? I realized that good things happen when you're willing to trust strangers and accept help. That morning I was so worried about being embarrassed or looking foolish that I almost missed everything. You taught me that sometimes admitting you need help is the bravest thing you can do." "And sometimes," Katt replied, "helping someone else is the only way to figure out what your own journey is supposed to look like. Because sometimes the wrong terminal leads to the right story, and sometimes the best flights are the ones that teach us that we're all just trying to get somewhere important, and we all deserve a little help along the way."